Hello, Retromovie fans. My name is Retromoviegirl, and today I have for you a complete review of Cross Justice by James Patterson. Now, when I considered doing this book review, I had two choices. I could have talked about the cross-dressing serial killer, which would have been perfectly fine for everybody, I think. But in this case, I've chosen to go the Starkville route. Because when I did the currently reading, I talked about how we're in two different places. We're in Starkville, North Carolina, where Alex's family is from, and he's gone to go help his cousin who's been accused of a terrible crime. So for the video's sake, we're just going to focus on Alex's past and his time in Starkville, but not the trial of his cousin. You're going to have to read the book to see how that shakes out. But the main point of this video is to talk about Alex as a whole during Cross Justice. He comes to Starkville for two reasons. He comes to Starkville to help his cousin, Stefan, get clear of a terrible crime that he did not commit while he was looking for something else. Somebody that he knew was killed, and as a result of that, it is thought that he committed the crime. But that's not the most important part for this video. The most important part is how it shapes Alex. Alex's past, just like everyone out in the real world, is shaped by things that happened to him as a child. Alex's parents are drug users, and his mother was killed, and she was also addicted to drugs. Both his parents are addicted to drugs, and when they supposedly died, Alex is taken away and goes to live, him and his brothers go to live with his Nana Mama, who has appeared in almost all of the Alex Cross books to date, and she's in this one as well. Because at this point, it's a family trip and everybody's going, including Jamie, Allie, everybody. So, when we get to Starkville and we've reached the house that he grew up in, Alex has an emotional reaction because he can remember when he's a little kid and when his mother is in good, sober condition. He can remember that, and he can remember the way she used to sing and the things she used to say and the jokes she used to tell, and he can remember when his father is sober and when everything is good. But when everything is bad, it becomes haunting, and it changed who Alex was as a young person, and he could have very well become a statistic of the parents were drug users, so therefore the child becomes a drug user. Alex was very lucky in the fact that Nana Mama didn't put up with any of that nonsense, and she effectively influenced his life so that he was not a drug user. She couldn't stop her son from doing some of the things he did, but she could influence and perhaps prevent Alex from taking the same road. Alex is a former FBI agent and works for the DC police and was a profiler. All those things, had she not intervened, may not have become part of Alex's life, and that's why Nana Mama stands out as a beacon to who Alex really is, and the consequences of her influence are apparent, and as a result, his journey as a parent changes. He doesn't have the same inflictions and addictions that his parents had, and he didn't pass them on to his children. So really, the whole journey of how Alex became Alex is there in the Starkville story. It's there when we meet his relatives, when we come across certain aspects of his life. It's there in the story, and all you have to do is read it and see who Alex really is at this point in his life. But he suffers a lot from bad memories and bad things that happened to him as a child. He even remembers seeing his father being dragged in the streets because, like I said, this is like 1960s Starkville and relations between races with the Jim Crow laws and everything is really, really a bad scene. Even at this particular time when the story takes place, it's a bad scene because Stefan is accused of killing a little black boy at the school where he works. So, in effect, all the white people think he's guilty, and some of the black people think he's innocent, especially family members. There's one problem I did have, however, with the story, was the fact that Naomi, Alex's niece, was allowed for several reasons to represent him. There's not really good representation. He's under the gun. I understand that. But I think it's like a doctor trying to treat a relative. It's not really something that the medical profession looks good on. They even tell you, don't treat relatives or don't perform surgery on relatives because you're too close to the situation. The same thing can be said for Naomi and several people. Because of how the situation works, several people are killed or even maimed for being part of the case, and you come in contact with certain characters, and I love that, but also the characters are perhaps out of line in certain aspects of the story. But overall, this story is about Alex in Starkville reliving parts of his past and seeing who Alex really is throughout the story. It's all there for you to see who Alex really is. But the most important thing I took away is that this is very family heavy. His family is in danger because he's part of Stefan's case. His family may be in danger. Certain scenes happen because everything is high stakes. For Stefan, Alex, and everyone involved in Stefan's case, everything is high stakes. So you'll see Jamie get involved, where Jamie hasn't really been involved in a lot of Alex's stories. She's just Alex's daughter and she's high achieving, and we know all that. But this time, Jamie does get involved in a small way. So it's nice to see everyone participate and have an active role in the story, whereas before they're just his kids and they're just, around, they live with him, but nothing really ever really happens to them in some of these stories. So it's kind of nice to see everybody get a part where they can participate. And when I come back, I'll have my favorite scene from Cross Justice, so I'll talk to you in the next clip. Okay, so my favorite scene doesn't even take place in Starkville, as much as I've talked about Starkville in this video. My favorite scene doesn't even take place in Starkville. It takes place in West Palm Beach. We have these two detectives. They're investigating the case of a serial killing cross-dresser, but that's neither here nor there for this scene. That is part B. What's really interesting is when they're discussing the case, they decide, well, we're hungry, so we're gonna go to a Jamaican restaurant in West Palm Beach. I'm not even sure if this restaurant exists, or maybe it's based on an actual restaurant that actually exists, but the thing is, it's a Jamaican restaurant, and if you didn't know, I'm a Jamaican American. So this whole thing about the Jamaican restaurant really stood out to me. But what really stands out to me is, I think her name is Althea. She owns a restaurant, and they go there because one of the detectives, Detective Drummond, Sergeant Drummond, is a patron of the restaurant on a regular basis. And what she said, they're eating oxtail and beans and rice, which is a traditional Jamaican dish. And what they do, after they eat it and drink the Red Stripe beer, which is also another traditional beer in Jamaica, she says to them, I have pudding for you all. Like a pudding pie dish she has a pudding pie dish for them. They say they don't want any, they're full, they're stuffed, they've eaten, they've talked, they're full, they're stuffed. But what really gets me is that she says, but I make fresh for you. You know, I make fresh for you. And they decide, okay, we'll eat the, you know, pudding pie or the Jamaican pudding for them. And what Alex says is, don't tell Bree, because I owe her, Bree's his wife, I owe her a Jamaican vacation for following me to Starville and getting her in this mess. I owe her a Jamaican vacation. Don't tell her about the restaurant, because when we're in West Palm Beach, she's going to want to come here all the time. Don't tell her. So in that way, because I'm a Jamaican American and because I eat the oxtail, and, you know, some of the traditional dishes, not all, but some of the traditional dishes, it really struck me that he would put them in a Jamaican restaurant in West Palm Beach, which is my neck of the woods. So it was really interesting to see that part of the story that I could relate to. I'm sure that there's lots of parts of his stories that different people can relate to, but this is a part of this story that I can relate to, so that's why it sticks out as my favorite scene from Cross Justice. And I'm going to end it right here, but I'm going to remind you to subscribe, like, and comment, and let me know what you thought of this review, and I'll talk to you very soon in my next video. Bye.